New developments on the Mar-a-Lago raid. A US federal judge says he plans to unseal parts of the affidavit used to justify the search of former President Donald Trump's home. US Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhart gave the DOJ until next Thursday to put forward a version of the affidavit. The hearing was convened after several US-based news organizations sought to unseal additional records tied to last week's search, including the affidavit. The sealed document is likely to contain key details about the Justice Department's ongoing investigation, where it's examining whether Trump retained and mishandled classified and sensitive government records.
Today's hearing, Judge Reinhart seemed to have a very good sense that it is his job as the gatekeeper in this case to perform his function of balancing the interest in the public of accessing these materials against the interest in the government in keeping them secret. Judge Reinhart gave us some clues to that today by telling us, for example, that at this juncture he is not inclined to keep the entirety of the search warrant application and its affidavit under seal, meaning that he understands that the public is going to likely be entitled to some parts of this warrant application and its affidavit.
The DOJ has vehemently opposed releasing any information of the affidavit. Even during the hearing, Jay Bratt, a top Justice Department national security prosecutor, argued for the affidavit to be hidden from the public. Bratt says unsealing the document can harm the ongoing probe, which he says is in its early stages. And it could also expose the next steps to be taken by federal agents and prosecutors. Last week, the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago to find out if Trump improperly handled government records when he left office. The team recovered 11 sets of classified files at the former president's estate in Palm Beach. Trump and his allies say that the FBI couldn't have found classified information at the Palm Beach residence because they say Trump had a standing order to declassify anything that he took out of the Oval Office. At least 18 top former members of his administration dispute that. Our US correspondent Susan Tarani is joining us live from New York City. Susan, what are the chances that this affidavit will be made public? And if it is, what could we learn?
So it's very unlikely that the public will see the affidavit anytime soon. While Judge Reinhart did give the Justice Department about a week to redact the affidavit, he also mentioned that he's going to make his own redactions and then give the Justice Department time to appeal. So once we do see the public version of the affidavit, will it be these black blocks with, you know, the kind of markers that we often see on affidavits, or will it be something more substantial that we've been looking for? As we know, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Dow Jones Industrial Company, with which the Wall Street Journal is part of, has been very hawkish and adamant in trying to get an understanding and leading the media landscape in what was really the reason, notably the probable cause of this, as you know, perhaps one of the first times that the media and Donald Trump and his allies have been on the same side. But it's not clear what will come out of it. So we'll have to wait and see, even if next Thursday comes around. As I mentioned, we won't know exactly what has been in this affidavit. But I do want to say that the Justice Department still can come out and, you know, explain a little bit to the public, because this is of such high interest, what the probable causes were. Whether they decide to do that or not, again, is up for question.
And Susan, you mentioned the Justice Department. They've of course been warning that releasing any of the documents could be detrimental to their case. How much of a difference could it make if even parts of the affidavit are made public?
Well, you know, this has happened before, not to this extent where so much was at stake and so first of all, for a former candidate and then a possible future candidate, and then so close to the midterm elections. But they could possibly redact names, sensitive information. And then ultimately it will be, you know, in the court of public opinion to decide whether or not it would be convincing. But it's hard to explain. But it's also important to note that the Trump administration not the administration, excuse me, the Trump team also could possibly, release some kind of evidence, perhaps, you know, of footage of the FBI searching Mar-a-Lago, and so on and so forth, and some kind of statement as well on a probable cause, because they know as well. So the fact that they haven't done so either is also something to consider.
Thank you, Susan.